앞서 close the key, I'll get lucky. 진심이면 everything's gonna be okay. 어떻게 벌써 왔나봐. 잠시만 기다려줄래요? 혼자 있을 때 훅 들어와 정신없이 날 흔들어놔. 지금이 딱 널 위한 showtime. Making your 땡땡 울리면 매일 찾아와 줄래? 찾아 맞출래? 그냥 돌다간 잠들어버릴 거려. Knock on my door, knock on my door. Come in, come in, come in, baby, take my hand. 내 머리 열리게 두드려줘. 쿵쿵 다시 한번 쿵쿵. Baby, knock on my door. 나 쉽게 열리지 않을 거야. 내일도 모레도 다시 와줘. 준비하고 기다릴 거야. Baby, knock on my door. 그 하루가 듣고 싶은 거야. Knock on my door. Hey, hey, 이 시간이 지나면
Now that's the very basic.
굳어있던 내 마음이 내 마음이 아이스크림처럼 녹아버릴 테니까.
Look carefully at
내
my
머리 열리게 두드려줘. 쿵쿵 다시 한번 쿵쿵. Baby, knock on my door. 쉽게 열리지 않을 거야. 내일도 모레도 다시 와줘. 준비하고 기다릴 거야. Baby, knock on my door. 그 하루가 듣고 싶은 거야. Knock on my
bottom would be a B string. Okay, but I discovered that if I tune this string a little higher, which is basically 1 fret higher, these are the frets, okay? 1 fret higher, then it's a C note, and it's a lot easier to play chords that way. For example, like normally a C chord, for example, in a normal tuning, a C chord is like this. You need 3 fingers, okay? But with this string tuned up, the way I have it, you only need 2 fingers to play the C chord. And it makes a beautiful C chord. So you can have the combination of the tapping and the strumming, which gives you a full chord. And that's what we're going to look at right now, the C chord, okay? So basically you take these 2 fingers and you put them down, okay? This middle finger is on the 3rd fret, the 5th string from the bottom, okay? That's a C note. And then the other finger is here, okay? So it's like this kind of formation of the fingers. And so basically we play the chord by hammering 1 or both of these fingers and strumming the rest of the strings. Okay, that's a C chord. And we're going to keep the C, that is the note of the chord, in what's called the root of the chord. Okay. Some of the things I'm going to explain are like music theory and basic music. Okay, so if you haven't studied that, that will help you too. Okay, but if you already know something about music, then you'll already know exactly what I'm talking about with the root and how chords are made. Okay, but it's like that. Okay. So that's the C chord. Now, a G chord is very similar. Let's just take the same formation and move it up. Okay? So now you're playing this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay? But the difference here is that not all of the strings on the guitar now are in the G chord, because you have notes here at the bottom like a C and an E, the bottom 2 strings, which really don't belong to a G chord. Okay? The first chord we learned, the C chord, all those notes belong. You can hear that sound, right? But a G chord, well, it doesn't sound bad, but they're not all technically part of the G chord. So you have to be a little selective about what strings you play. So you hammer and you try to play just these top 4 strings, okay? Because this note here, this open note, which is the 3rd string from the bottom, is a G note. That belongs perfectly. You hear that sound? And that's a full chord. Now if by accident you hit one of the other strings at the bottom, it doesn't sound too bad either. It has a little effect, you know. We don't have to get into that at this point, but try to be disciplined and play those 4 strings, those top 4 strings to give you the top for the real G chord, okay? Let's do a little combination. C, G, C, G. So you can practice changing like that. Okay. And let's add one more chord now, and that's the F chord, okay? Now again, you can use the same finger formation, so this first lesson is easy that way. You can keep the fingers like this again, and just instead of playing the top strings, you play here, okay? Which, let's go back for a moment. Remember the first chord we learned, which was a C, and then the second one was a G. Let's go back to the C, the first chord we learned. And let's just move your fingers down 1 string now. Okay, down. Hear that? So that's an F chord. Okay, now, in this particular chord, there are 2 things that are a little different than what we did before. And that is that, well, we don't have as many strings to work with down here. And the bottom string, which is an E, technically isn't part of the F chord, but it gives you a nice sound. It's called an F major 7th chord, and it doesn't bother you at all when you... There are times when you're playing a song when you don't want to emphasize that bottom note, but there are times when it sounds really good. So let's just, for now, understand that this is the F chord. This is the way we play it. The bottom string doesn't technically belong, but it sounds okay. And we also have here, above the finger here, the middle finger, there's an open note. Okay, now that note is an A note, and it's part of the F chord. So now with this chord you have a choice. You can play just using the F as the root. The root is the lowest note in a chord. Remember we had the C with the C root. Okay, now the F. Just want to play the F. Or you can sometimes use the A as the root, which sounds very good. And it makes a nice transition when you're going to the C. Because when you have that open note sounding, and then you hammer down on that string, on a fret, it makes it louder, it makes it sound really good. Okay, so those are the basic 3 chords in the key of C. If you know something about music theory, you know I've taught you the 1, the 5, and the 4. And with the 1, 5, and 4, you can play a lot of songs. Okay, and then there's a thing called a capo, which in another lesson I'll tell you more about, but that you can put on the guitar to play different keys. All right? If you want to just play in that, just play these chords, but higher, you can put a capo here, okay? You can play them here, and it sounds higher. Okay, so we're learning the key of C, which is one of my favorite keys, but I can play in more keys than just C. There are about 4 or 5 keys that I really like to play in without a capo. But of course, with a capo, again, you can play any key. So let's learn a song now in the key of C. The song is called Amazing Grace, which everybody knows. And I have a version of that song. It's a common domain song, and I did a version of it called The Santiago Way. So I'll just play part of that song. Okay, I'll play the chords in a real basic way. And then just so you can see some of the possibilities that this method has, I will even play a little bit of melody along with the chords. Okay, so now we're going to play Amazing Grace, and you can also see that I have a file on the website which you can open, and you can see the chords and also a description of the method in text. Okay, so it's hammer, 2, 3. Okay, hammer is 1, and then strum down and strum up, 2 and 3. Okay, so it's 1, grace, how sweet the sound to save a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. They say St. James once traveled there, the Santiago way, and when he lived, his words were clear. He said we could be saved. Okay, so now we're going to learn some different chords, which are minor chords. Okay, an A minor. This is an A minor. You put your two fingers like that, okay? Almost like you did with the F, except now the fingers are together on the second fret. All the strings on the guitar are in the A minor, but we generally play with this note in the bass, okay, which is an A. Okay, and then there's another chord which is an E minor, which is just bring your fingers up, and then this is the bass. Now, not all the notes are in the E minor. Therefore, similar to what you did with the G, you should try to be disciplined and only play the top four strings. Okay, so those are two new chords that you have, also in the key of C. Okay, so now I'm going to play a song that I wrote called The Light in Your Eyes, which uses the minor chords. And in order to see those chords written, you can open the file which goes along with this video. Okay, one more new chord and one more new song, but also a new key, okay? You'll see. This is a new chord. It's a D chord, okay? So what you're doing here is with one finger, you're pressing down on these three strings, and you're playing this open string here, which is a D, a nice D chord. The A is also part of the D chord, okay? So you can have like an alternating bass sound. Okay, and we're going to play a song in the key of G. Now, it's a different key. You've been playing in C up till now, but we have the key of G. You already know the G chord. Okay. C is also in the key of G, and D is in the key of G. So now it's 1, 4, 5 is G, C, D. Okay. Take me back to my old hometown where the birds are singing and flying around. Take me back to the old dance hall where the people are laughing and having a ball. Well, I wish I had a brand new car, I wish I had another suit of clothes. Swimming in the river, we all got wet from our head down to our toes. Okay, so this is just the beginning of what I have discovered. My advice to you is that you just keep trying to play and trying to make things sound good. Look for beautiful things. That's what musicians do. They look for beautiful things on the instrument that they play. And another very important piece of advice is to be consistent, okay? To try to play every day, but to gradually build up strength in your hand, because it takes time to really get the strength and the ability to do all this well. So just take it easy, okay? Be consistent, but don't try to overdo it at the beginning, because you can also hurt yourself, okay? If you start to feel like things in your wrist, that's bad, okay? Or if you start to let the strings get under your fingernails, okay, here, and that's very bad too, because they're bad habits that can lead you in the wrong direction. It takes a while to get over those habits. So just try to do things correctly, and gradually will build up the strength. Okay, and then you will be able to play for a couple hours a day, no problem, later on. But at the beginning, maybe start by playing 10 or 15 minutes a day. Okay, and then you can build up to half an hour, and then when you start to feel better, more. Okay, but if you start to feel anything in your wrist, like carpal tunnel or something like that, that comes from playing too much when you're not ready, or maybe cramps or soreness in your hand, or you start letting the strings get under your fingernails, that's really bad. Okay, so you need to take a break there, okay, and relax, or just play a little bit, and then when you're playing, be real disciplined, okay, about not letting the strings get under your fingernails and doing things correctly, okay? So that's my advice to you. I hope that in future lessons I can teach you some of the more advanced intricacies of the method, which are many. It will offer you a lot of possibilities. And just enjoy the guitar.